The Wednesday week is sponsored by Bentoria.com. That's BENTORIA.com.
There's a chance here, a great save. A turner from McClare. Mike Bannon. A terrific goal by Sheridan.
Brexman against Jones. Get in.
You could have two goalkeepers in there that would have trouble saving that.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to the Wednesday week, the Sheffield Wednesday podcast. I'm Lord Hillsborough. With me on the line today, we've got James. Hello there, James. You've been?
Good evening.
Have you recovered from our intimate affair, old boy?
It took a little while, yeah, but after a couple of cigarettes afterwards, I was fine.
That kind of lord.
Disclosure, I don't actually smoke, sorry.
We have Victoria. Hello there, my darling.
Hello, my lovely. How are you?
I'm jolly well. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you.
Fantastical. We have Mr. Fudge. He's back.
What go on in Wednesday weekers?
I don't know what that means.
That means hello, how are you in South London?
Banging. Happy with that. And we have a rather special guest this evening as well. We have only Mr. Neil Hargreaves. Hello there, Neil O'Bean. How the devil are you?
How you doing? You're right. It's not exactly a special guest, really. It's a guest.
Yeah, well,
We mean special in that way that
I know where this is going.
I don't need to finish that.
But no, it's lovely to have you on, Neil, old boy. And of course, we'll be talking a bit more about your podcast soon, later on as well. But first of all, before we get to all that, let's crack on with the Reading game, shall we? Have a little bit of a chat about that. One apiece draw. And to be fair, I mean, we should have had this wrapped up in the first half, shouldn't we?
Can I just say, first things first, I was very, very proud on Saturday because me and my friends were the first people in the pub in Reading. Before anyone from Reading was in the pub in Reading, we'd made it from Sheffield to Reading, and we were the first people in the pub. So the rest of the day, I didn't really care. That was it. It was a life ambition achieved. I feel very proud. I'd like to thank my dad and my mum.
They've always been there for you.
Did you get a special badge?
No, but I'd really like one or some kind. Perhaps a loaf of bread would do.
Would you like some nimble?
Yes, some nimble. That's an appropriate way to mark this occasion. Unfortunately, I mean, the day generally went a little bit downhill from there in many ways because I managed to really mess up my knee, and I'm not sure how I did it. I think I fell over again at some point. I think I gate crashed someone's date who will remain anonymous. Sorry, David. And then I woke up on Sunday to discover that I'd arranged a holiday to Dubai in June. Yeah, football-wise, I thought we started really brightly, and I've got to admit that I did think after the first kind of 10 minutes or so that we were probably going to walk this one. Obviously, Bannon hit the post really early on, and then Hooper scored. And then it all got a little bit strange after that. The Reading penalty, which kind of came against the run of play, I swore blind at the time. It was never a penalty in a million years. And I was screaming and shouting that it wasn't a penalty. Watched it back on the TV. Yeah, it's a penalty all day long, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But you know what? He missed it, and we went balmy, and that was brilliant. And half time, I think we were all pretty happy, and we thought, you know, we were on top. Everything's going our way. Second half, different story. We weren't as positive. Reading came at us. The equaliser was a little bit inevitable, and to be fair, after that, I think if we're honest, there was probably only going to be one winner. So, all in all, not a bad point, I guess. But it feels a little bit like one of those sort of what-if games, because I think if we'd have been a little bit more positive in the second half as we had been in the first half, I kind of feel like we could have won that game. We could have got 3 points out of it.
I think my favourite is the line from McDermott after the game where he said the first 20 minutes Wednesday played really well. They scored a good goal, and that's why they are in the league. Well, thanks, Brian. That's why we're in the league. It had nothing to do with a 2-0 home victory against Wickham and people like Danny Bart and Miguel Yera defending to the hilt. No, it's because of the first 20 minutes 2 years later. That's why we're in the league. Thanks, Brian. And there you are. And that gets him a Leeds job.
Of course, it wasn't going terribly well. And towards the end of the match, we started to make the subs on there. And one thing I'm getting a little bit concerned about is Mr. Zhao. He doesn't seem to have carried on his form that we saw at the beginning of the season. Is this something that's noticeable while watching there, James, or is it something that's maybe just still learning the game? Can we use that excuse still?
Well, I think it's a clear ploy to make sure that no one comes and buys him in January. What Carlos has done is sat down and said, right, what I'd like you to do through the month of January is be a bit crap. And that's exactly what he's done. And he's done it well, to be fair to him. He's done it well. No, look, I don't know. I mean, when we bought him, Carlos was quite explicit and said he's one for the future. Let's not get too excited about the fact that we've spent a huge amount of money on this guy. He's one for the future. And I think if we go back a few weeks, he was way ahead of where we would have expected him to be. And I think what's actually happening is that it's maybe just leveling itself out and calming itself down a little bit. And actually, he is learning, and he's going to be working hard on the training ground, doing the stuff that he needs to do, learning from the players he needs to learn from. He's not. We can't expect to bring him on with 20 minutes to go and him score the goals that win us the game every single week.
Why?
He did it because he's a young lad. He's still learning. You've got to learn how different opposition play. He had a few weeks where it did go in his favour and things went.
One of them was against Reading.
It's not going to happen week in, week out.
He's played these before. You know what I mean? He should know exactly how they all play. He should know how it all works. You know what I mean? Like, I think João, João. I think João is a cracking player, and I agree with you, James. I think he is one for the future. I don't think it's the finished article. But then we seem to be in this sweet spot where when either him or Big Dave drop out of form, the other one picks up and takes the mantle, which I'm a big fan of at the minute. I mean, Christ, Big Dave's been on fire. And I can't mention Big Dave without mentioning my missus, who thought, when she saw Big Ben in London, that's what she thought the Big Ben was called. I think...
Wow.
Is your lady special as well?
I don't know, she's just heard me say some things, and she pointed at the clock tower and went, "Is that Big Dave?" And all of a sudden I got this image of Adi Newhu just stood there towering over the House of Parliament going, "Hello, you all right, kids?"
See, we've discussed before how beautiful Fudge's girlfriend is, and now we know how he's managed it.
I think that Bywaters was, what was he? Using mad as a fishing petrol, and Sean is not the fizziest drink in the fridge. Please don't tweet her that. She'll never talk to me again.
So it is a little bit disappointing after we should have really wrapped it up, shouldn't we? But then again, to cling on to it, and it really was clinging on to the point. Redden had a clear chance to finish it off right at the death, didn't it, with their new signing?
Jan Kermigan.
That's the chap, absolutely. To be honest, he really should have put that in, shouldn't he? So fair play to him for giving us a bit of a break there, but it's just, to be honest, it was a bit of a boring match after the last couple of matches we've had, hadn't it? It were a bit of a...
It wasn't classic, was it?
No, absolutely not. And of course, we still managed to cling to our playoff spots. Of course, as we are recording, there are games being played this evening, aren't there? So we're going to be absolutely out of date as soon as this comes out. So typical Wednesday week. Brilliant.
Can I just point out the fact that I've never been to Reading before. There are no pubs anywhere near the football stadium. It is like in the middle of nowhere.
Oh yeah, it's on one of those big industrial estates, isn't it, where there's like a B&Q and a Kingdom of Leather always on sale.
If you want a burger or a sofa, you're fine, but if you want a bar, you've got no chance. The only thing they have got is there's a hotel built into the ground which has a bar in it. So we all arranged to meet there after the final whistle. The problem is it's home fans only, and we were singing away songs as we attempted to get in, so they didn't like that, which took us on this great fun game of let's try and find some home fans who are walking away from the match who will let us have their match tickets so we can use them to get inside.
You're a genius.
It took a while, but it worked. And they didn't actually check us tickets when we went in second time, so waste of time. But, good fun.
Did you put on your best non-northern accent as well, James? Did you put your showbiz voice on?
I did. As I walked in, I took my hat off and went, "Oh, good evening, gentlemen. Lovely to see you tonight."
Brilliant.
Works every time.
I don't know how you're not on EastEnders.
Right then, so let's put the Reading game firmly behind us. Again, it's a disappointing point. at the same time, we were lucky to cling on to it. So, chuff it. Hey, let's crack on. So, next thing we have is the transfer news. It has been a little bit more quiet this week, hasn't it? We've not been with everybody, the mother, the dog, and Frank the butcher. There's just a few little rumours popped up. First one is Jerome Sinclair, the young 19-year-old from Liverpool. He's actually out of contract towards the end of the season, and one of the big people who are looking at this young chap is Watford. But I think they're waiting for him to come out of contract so they can snag him on a free. But there are plenty of championship clubs, ourselves included, that are happy to pay around about £3 million for this young chap. Do we think it's worth knocking £3 million out on him?
I have seen him play a couple of times on the TV. Or at least once, anyway. I saw the Liverpool Exeter game a couple of weeks ago where he played, and he looks like a decent enough player. I think if we rate him enough, if that's the only way we're going to get him, £3 million kind of seems like a lot of money. But with the amount that's been knocked around in the Championship at the moment, I suppose actually it's not a bad investment for a striker who you're going to bring on a long-term contract. Yeah, it might be worth a go. It's a weird one though, isn't it? When someone's coming up out of contract, because you can make a pre-contract agreement with them, and you don't have to pay anything for that. You just basically get them to agree that they're going to sign a contract with you.
So you get them to agree to sign a contract
You get them. You only need to get them to agree to sign one contract.
So you don't have to sign a contract to agree to sign the contract.
I don't think so.
Is it like an engaged to be contracted?
I think it's like the back of a beer mat. It's scribbled on in Bic Biro.
Yeah. The one's nicked from Argos or the bookies. Yeah, one of them.
And the other little sort of transfer news that's been dotting about again, it's sort of reared its ugly head, and we've sort of glossed over it before. Apparently, Dean Smith of Brentford has mentioned that Alan Judge may not be there at the end of the transfer window, which of course puts all the focus back onto Sheffield Wednesday and our massive Tuna Bucks money. A, do we need him? First of all. B, are we willing to spend what will probably be about £7 million on him, thereabouts?
Well, do we need him is a difficult one to answer, because right now, no, we don't. But if we get a couple of injuries, then we might look back and think, ooh, maybe we should have bought him. As in terms of it being a squad game, he wouldn't be a bad addition at all. He is a damn good footballer, and he scores quite a lot of goals. I think it's fair to say he's probably been the player of the season so far in the Championship. Is he worth paying that amount of money for? I don't know. I think if you're talking maybe kind of around the 6 million mark, I think it's probably not a bad amount of money to spend on a player of his quality. Anything more than that, and it does feel like we're kind of blowing our budget, and then we become the kind of team that's really gambling on getting promoted this season, and I don't like that thought.
I think it's going to be one of those signings like Ross Wallace. I think somebody who's got a bit of quality that we're going to get in, and we're going to be surprised by him.
And of course, we've got his own loan signing today as well. He's been rather quiet, which is a bit scary, actually. It's like he's hiding in the corner waiting to do something evil. Neil is here, of course, from the Owls Talk podcast. Neil, thank you so much for joining us all, Bean.
Thanks for asking me.
First things first, we do need to clear up this nonsense that seems to be knocking about, that we're in some sort of competition, which you quite nicely cleared up on your podcast as well. We're all Wednesday, aren't we, Neil O'Bean?
Podcast wars. No, it's exactly the same thing that you get with anything, to be fair, like online. So you get like, Owls Online and some of the other forums, slagging Owls Talk and Owls Talk people occasionally trying to have a bash at other people, but we don't allow that. And people on Facebook slagging forums off and slagging podcasts off. So it don't work like that with me. It's like, let's all just get on. Let's just crack on and get stuff done.
No, absolutely. We've always said on the Wednesday week that we are essentially Switzerland. We've had plenty of people on. Obviously, you've been on yourself before, Neil. We had Terry on from Owls Online. Yeah. Obviously, Beastie always with Owls Alive. We've had people from Wednesday, of course, Eddie, and people, everybody.
Exactly, yeah.
Exactly. And at the moment, we're actually in talks with one of the Facebook groups, the Cop End, to do a bit of a Bannon week as well, which is watch this space for that. That's coming up quite soon as well. So, no, it's fantastic. And of course, what your podcast does is a little bit different to what we do as well.
Yeah, very different. Before we go on to that, just want to talk about just the whole idea of Wednesday fans doing podcasts and websites and stuff. When you're talking about like all these different people that you've got from different groups and different online communities and stuff like that, that to me just kind of illustrates the work that's been done by all Sheffield Wednesday fans since the internet started. And I reckon we are, I know there's stats to back this up, we're probably one of the most online active fan bases in the whole country in terms of football. So I think it's good, and I think we should keep innovating. So like when you set this podcast up in the first place, again, that's another step forward for Wednesday fans. And I think the more things that go off that are new and exciting and inclusive, the better. And I think we're starting to see that now with all these various different groups that are coming together, all doing new stuff, and it's good to see, innit?
No, absolutely. The politics of being a Wednesday fan is something that really gets on my lordly boobies.
Same.
It really, really does, and it drives me utterly insane.
Yeah.
So we just quite simply we don't get involved.
Same here.
That simple. But no, the podcast itself is obviously onto your second episode now. Is it going well?
Well, I don't know. It's debatable.
You're storming up the charts, Neil. Don't be so humble.
Well, I know. I get that.
Beat
But
ours. Well, no,
not-
actually, no, that's a lie. We have been number one once.
Yeah.
But you're doing well.
The way I see it is like you're the fillet steak of podcasts, and we're probably like this.
You're the Nando's.
We're not even that far. We're probably a kebab.
You do realise what I'm going to do now, Neil, is at the end of the show, I'm going to put in the little segments that I've just chopped out of this podcast to prove that that's utter nonsense. Whilst listening to your show, when you said the Wednesday week team very organised, have you changed your opinion on that in the last 10 minutes, Neil?
No, because I think I can see what you do. Like you record what you do. You're very professional, very organised, and you do your editing and stuff. Whereas, I'll be honest. I'll be perfectly honest. When we do ours, we just press record and just stand and talk. And we literally
I like that about yours. I do like that.
We've got no idea what's going to happen, and we don't plan anything. We don't say, right, we've got this to discuss and this has happened. We just like literally press record. We have a beer, press record, and just see what happens. And I think it's high risk, that, but I like that. I don't mind that at all.
That's how we used to be, surely. Isn't that what we used to do? And then we got Vic on, and she kept swearing loads.
I've heard that tonight.
But no, it's nice that we can get together and do it. And by all means, if there's any other Wednesday groups out, we've always said this ever since day number one. If anybody wants to jump on, if anyone wants to have a chat with us, of course we can't have everybody on all at once, which is something I feel awful for sometimes. And we try to do phone-in shows and all that kind of thing as well.
But nobody rings.
Well, yeah, that's right.
we set up a voicemail and we had hosts going. Testing.
I tell you what, Lord,
we'll buy that content off you.
You can have it. You can have it.
That was a very diplomatic way of saying we give you an opportunity to get on, but you didn't bloody bother, did you? What's the matter with you all? That was very diplomatic.
No, not at all. I mean, there are people that want to come on the show, and at times it's difficult. I mean, obviously this evening there's five of us here at the moment. Obviously Eddie's not here, but you'll hear from Eddie later on in the show, etc., etc. So getting everybody on and the technology to make Skype work with more than 3 people on is unbelievable. You want to see the little sort of generator I've got running at the moment just to make this damn thing work. But it's really appreciate you coming on, Neil, and please do pipe the chuff up as well, won't you, Holby?
Yeah, definitely. Don't forget as well that what we're doing on the House Talk podcast. If you notice, there's no football discussed. So yeah, we don't really we want to leave that to you because like your guys do it best. So it's like you do that.
I'll come in now, Neil, right? Because I've known you for many, many, many years. And I was a bit sceptical about the Owls Talk podcast just because I have backed away from Owls Talk over the last few years. There's been
hang on a minute, Vic. I'm pretty sure the last time we had Neil on, you were shouting at him because your account was blocked. Now, did you have some time away, or did you just F and Jeff on there too much and you got kicked off?
No, there's somebody on there who I don't like very much, but I've blocked him now, so I don't see him.
Yeah,
in your face. But no, I was genuinely sceptical just because I don't read that much of it anymore. The only bits I tend to read are the bits that I've already commented on, so a little star comes up on the left or whatever. Yeah. But I genuinely, I was cleaning my bedroom. It sounds so pathetic. I had the day off yesterday, so I thought I'd rearrange our wardrobe for summer and winter. And I was sat listening to it, and I was laughing my head off all the way through.
So were we.
It really was funny. It was hilarious. I really, really enjoyed it. I haven't listened to the second one yet because he came home and then I have to go and talk to him. But I will do. I am going to listen to the second one. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good fun.
Well, it's just talking nonsense. You don't have to, obviously, be an house talker or go an house talk to listen to it. And it's not about, we don't cover what you cover. So I think it should be a good partnership, good team.
I'm intrigued, Neil. Would you? I've never listened to it, and because I went on Owls Talk once in 2004, and went, I'm not going back on here, bloody hellfire. I've never been slagged off by so many people I don't know. And but by the sounds of it, it sounds like something I need to give a shout. Would you give us a brief synopsis of it? So, like you said, you don't cover what we do cover, but what do you cover?
We talk about what Wednesday fans are talking about, but nothing football related. So it could be anything. Like, I tell you what, I'll give you an example. Is the fans that go to matches and leave on the 75th minute, and the reasons behind that, or the fan that turns up and sits on the cop in a bright red jacket. Do you know what I mean?
These are the hard-hitting stories that the people need to know. I tell you what, we could do that now. That 75th minute one, because. That really grinds my gears.
We couldn't do it because the people that listen to the Owls Talk podcast have already heard it this week, Fudge.
They haven't heard me sound off about it, Lord H. I tell you,
there's no excuse, is there? No excuse.
There is no excuse. Well, you don't pay, 3/4 of a ticket just to go watch 3/4 of a match, do you?
Do you know, that's my biggest bugbear, because I sit right on a gangway and it gets like 80 minutes and people stand in front and crouch at the gangway. And I'm like, I paid for the full match here. I don't know about you. And I got told off for telling people. Stuart told me to shut up.
It's the same people that turn up late. It's the same people that walk in late as well.
Do you see what's happened? We've turned into chuffing Owls Talk. We have him on for 5 minutes.
I got a mention on the Owls Talk podcast. I was well excited. I started a thread about puddings, and it got mentioned. And I was listening to it. I thought, that was mine. That's right, good.
You started a thread about puddings?
I did. Do you want to know the story, Fudge?
Can you enlighten me? Because can I derive some kind of sexual innuendo out of this? Because we've been on air for about 20 minutes now. I've not done a knob gag yet.
Right, so there's a bloke who I work with who says that a meal at home, any meal, like dinner time, whatever, apart from breakfast, he makes a difference for breakfast, but he reckons that any meal is not a meal unless you have a pudding. So every single night he has a dessert with his meal. And I find that a bit weird.
Well, he's wrong and clearly mental. I bet he calls it lunch and then dinner, doesn't he, as well?
Yeah, he is quite posh. He's from Dore.
For God's sake.
I always have a pudding at work at lunchtime, but that's normally a yogurt, which is not really a pudding.
Yeah, well, it kind of is.
But then I never do at home.
Like, if I invited you round for a meal, I would obviously make a pudding.
I'd bang some cheese board out.
Cheese board classes as pudding, though, doesn't it?
Is it?
Do you know when we were speaking about transfers earlier, Neil? We've got a lady up for sale from the podcast.
I've had enough of it for the last 10 years.
She swears more than we do.
I don't.
She's really good at talking about puddings.
But you can see now that we don't cover the same stuff that you do.
Even though we've just done 10 minutes on stuff that you've already done.
No, but it's nice. Essentially, we have a Sheffield Wednesday podcasting network, and I'm absolutely positive as soon as obviously we hit the Premiership and there'll be more out there, and it's brilliant. It will. Fantastic. Yeah. We're not for everybody. You guys aren't for everybody, but there will be somebody out there for everybody. And as long as the Wednesday fans are engaged and excited and looking forward to the season, who cares? It's brilliant. Absolutely fantastic.
The more things for Wednesday fans in whatever shape, format, whatever, don't have to be online, don't have to be a website or a podcast. The more things, the better.
Absolutely. Could not agree more. Even a chuffing ridiculous fake lord on Twitter. My word. Oh no. Jeeves, we're going to need some more equipment.
Then you need to speak to Oddballs, a speciality.
What the?
Oddballs, a speciality deal in steel, food, and engineering equipment.
Where's that voice coming from?
We offer great deals on all types of equipment and can include dismantling, delivery, and erection anywhere in the world.
Did he just say erection?
We can also buy your surplus equipment or sell it on commission. With over 30 years' experience, let us achieve the best deal for you.
Where can I find out more, Voice in the Sky?
Go to www.oddballs.co.uk. Ventoria.com.
You heard him, folks. Jeeves, get a broom. Victoria, show us your tips.
Is Victoria's tips better than James's little bits? I don't know. You know what I mean?
They're like yin and yang, Albie.
Definitely not. So, at the weekend, I've always had this top betting tip, right? So whatever we do in a match, whether we win, lose or draw, Blackpool and Blackburn always do the same. And I always put a few quid on, us all to win, us all to draw, us all to lose. Got 120 odd quid out of it this weekend. So I thought, because people on Twitter then have been asking me for tips. So here are my tips. I basically just bet on anybody that Sky Bet had as signing for us before the end of the transfer window. So you can bet on Zach Clough to sign before the 3rd of February at 20 to 1. You can bet on Ross McCormack to sign before the 3rd of February at 25 to 1. Or you can have Patrick Bamford at 10 to 1, which I think seems like a pretty good deal. So here goes.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
Patrick Bamford would be a banging signing. I don't know
it's
where
10
where
to
we
1.
fit him
Fudge
in.
is 10 to 1. Anyone that we've got available on that Sky Bet, put a pound on it. You never know.
This
And
is
then
like
when
going to
we
the
sign
Sky
him-
Sports Studios again. Every time somebody said out, you'd be like, "Well, I've got you on a Sheffield double 6 to 1."
Yeah, exactly. And there's a special on at the moment, which is us to go up and Derby not to go up, which is like 25 to 1. So I've had a pound on that as well.
Have we got a new sponsor that I'm not aware of?
Yeah, it's called Beds
Well-
and Bets. It's a Twitter account as well.
What happened is I accidentally banned myself from all of the betting websites.
Is it because
So,
you've got a problem?
No, it's someone was once using my account and they had a problem. And so now
Yeah,
I'm banned until I'm 35, but I can only use Sky Bet. So all the odds I know are through Sky Bet. But at the weekend, I also did throw out there that Gary Hooper was 6 to 1 for first goal. Boom. And 3 people on Twitter thanked me for that as I paid for their takeaway. So you should listen to me. There you go.
Cheers for Mickey Babvick. New hashtag there.
Do you know, Jem got home on Saturday night and I said, I've just 120 odd quid on my usual, my Blackpool Wednesday bet. And he went, oh, brilliant. He went, should we go out? And I went, well, take me out, son. He went, yeah, and the voice. I was like, yeah, no, we'll just stay in.
Showbiz we like, kids. Stick around for
YOLO.
more Showbiz tales from Vic Wood. She's out tonight, boys. You better watch yourself.
Right, so let's crack on with a bit of other Wednesday news, shall we? Of course, the thing that has been dominating the Wednesday airwaves this week is the badge. I shan't say the new badge because it's not new, is it?
The thing I like about it, right, is you know, like the old badge is right. It's meant to be an owl that you can draw without lifting your pen off the paper. And I never get it right. Like its eyes are always upside down, or its nose is on the side of its face, or whatever. But this
Well,
one's
that's because
actually-
you're normally having wine instead of dessert. Vic. That's why.
But this one, I reckon I could draw it. It's
Well-
good. I could doodle it.
Well, that's the cornerstone of any good badge. Do you know what I mean?
It is.
Can pissed up Vic Wood draw it? And you know,
I'm a
she-
pissed off.
I'm not a fan of the new badge, and there's one main reason for it. Are we saying new badge even though it's not a new badge? We're going with old badges being the current badge, and then new badges being the old badge.
To save on
Technically,
confusion.
It's the new
yes.
crest, isn't it?
That
It's not a
makes
badge. They've
sense.
said it's a crest.
Sorry. All right, crest. All right, calm down.
All right.
I don't like the new one for the basis that after a bit of fiddling around today, I changed the screensaver on my work laptop, which was the current badge, to the new badge, and it looks rubbish as a desktop background. Just doesn't work at all. Looks really messy. Don't like it. So for that reason, I'm out.
well, there you are, Vic.
But
Vic,
can you
Vic,
draw it?
But can you draw it?
I can't draw a circle. I've got no chance of drawing a bloody out.
Oh,
Forget
I'll
that.
teach you.
I think I'll always prefer the badge that I grew up with, if you like, as a lad, which is, of course, as it was termed Aussie when it was first devised, and that was a bit of a competition at the time as well, wasn't it? So we could have his own branding and own the copyright for it. But no, it's to me, that's what Sheffield Wednesday is, that particular badge. I don't have an association with this crest, if you like. I'm sure that my grandfather would be over the moon that the great big tattoo on his back is now back in fashion.
I think if we'd have gone back to the one that we had in, what was it, 96, 97, which
that
is
was
very
awful.
similar to the new one. I didn't mind that. I didn't hate
No!
it, but because I think the Aussie badge, as Lord H puts it, is very 60s. I think it's very dated. If you look at Derby counties, you look at Nottingham Forest, there looks like there was a spate in the 60s of drawing these simple badges as copyright came in and whatnot. But, this badge is just bloody awful. It's got eyelashes, for God's sake. Who looks at an owl and goes, "Oh, look at the lovely eyelashes"? Unbelievable. The best thing I've seen is when somebody akined it to something like from Harry Potter, when they said, Harry, you're in Gryffindor, and Sheffield Wednesday, you're in Slytherin.
That's
Do you know what I mean?
Brandon. That was brilliant.
That genuinely looks like that, and I agree with that. It looks like a Harry Potter house badge.
Okie dokie. So again, just to quickly go over, just with those guys on the podcast now. Obviously, if we're going to go back, yes or no, Vix, would you be happy with moving away from stripes?
For one season, for an anniversary season, yeah, I'd go back to the old school, like blue front, white sleeves. But other than that, no, with stripes.
James?
I don't like the idea. I really don't like the idea. I don't think there's anything wrong with stripes. I don't think there's any particular need for us to move away from them. But look, if it happens and it's for one season for the anniversary, then I'll go with it. But I hate them, so I don't care. But we've all seen the way that Sheffield United fans have gone off about their anniversary kit this season, which does look terrible and is very kind of non-traditional for them. So I'm not sold on the idea.
Neil?
I don't know. I'd have to see it, I think, but I would give it a go. Yeah, I'd give it a go. I think the badge that they've unveiled on Sunday afternoon, it has got eyelashes, and not noticed that before. That's really put me off. But it does look better when it's on a shirt. In real life, when it's embroidered, it looks a lot better than that I'm looking at now. But in terms of like taking the stripes off, yeah, let's do it. Just do it for one season.
Fudge?
100% get rid of the bloody things. They're awful. I hate them. And I tell you for why. One, I don't buy striped tops myself. I don't buy hoop tops. I like, big, chunky, bold colours. And I think the pinstripe, I think my favourite one has been it reminds me of Mel Sterland. I think it was 1982, 84. It's the thin pinstripe ones. Quite like that. Don't get me wrong. But if we moved away to blue top, white sleeves, I would absolutely love it 100%. Purely because it looks better. And two, there is a faction on Twitter and in the Sheffield Wednesday fraternity, not just on Twitter, which I lovingly call stripe wankers. And they cannot move away from stripes. They've got this awful superstition that if we don't have stripes, we do bloody rubbish. And you're like, well, not strictly true, is because we got relegated wearing them. So, soz about your theory.
That's a fair point, and there are also people as well that every year complain about the new shirt on the basis of the fact that, like, the stripe that's in the middle is the wrong one. Like, it's got to be a blue one or it's got to be a white one.
No, it has to be a white one.
Or the badge is on. Like, this season, apparently, the badge is on the white stripe and it's supposed to be on the blue stripe, so it's all wrong this season, apparently.
I think
at least it stops that nonsense.
It does, and somebody needs to check my give a chuffometer as well, because at the minute, if we don't wear stripes, I don't give two bobbins. I think if we went to a block colour and went to white sleeves for a short period of time, I think we'd go, do you know what, our kit is banging.
Yeah.
Because our kit, it's the same every bloody year. All right, we could be worse. We could be a Liverpool fan who seems to bring one out every year, but they're all the same. Do you know what I mean? What if we went to a round collar, blue top, white sleeves? It looked top notch as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I think the biggest thing that we've learned from this particular discussion is that none of you people understand the word yes or no answer.
No, yes, I forgot the question.
Right, let's move on, shall we? Of course, we didn't have Wednesday night arranged the Legends night and raised £6,076 for Haley's cancer appeal, which is absolutely incredible. I believe Nigel Short was the chap that took the lead on this.
Yeah. Well done, Nigel.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it did a great job, that. And I was working with Nigel on it because I did the poster and stuff to help him out early on to get the artwork ready and get the tickets on sale. And the work that he's put into that, it deserves a big pat on the back for. I think I've seen what he did. He did a lot of work and it's paid off.
It's worth it just for the pictures of a Hursty doing bingo.
That was great. That Periscope video that someone did was just fantastic. Because I was saying this to you guys earlier on. I've never been to any of these kind of things where Hursty's up doing whatever he does now. But he's bloody funny. He's really funny, and he swears a lot. And I like people that swear a lot. It's like why me and Fudge get on so well.
I'm Vic. She's the queen.
Like,
But no, brilliant. A massive well done to Wednesday, and of course Nigel for bringing that together. Just incredible. Really, really good. And the last little bit of Wednesday news we have for the moment is, of course, Hursty's young lad, George, has been called up for the under-17s. I'm trying not to get too excited about George because it's a lot of pressure on a young lad, isn't it? But chuff me, if he's half as good as his dad, it's going to be brilliant, this, isn't it?
Yeah, there seems to be a real buzz about the guy. I'm going to be honest, I don't know a great deal about him other than the fact that he seems quite highly rated and he really thinks a lot of his dad. So, he's probably got a decent mentor there, hasn't he? You're right. If he's, even 25% of the player that his dad was, then he will do a decent job for us in the future.
how exciting as well, just to think that we might have another Hurst number 9. Like, that's really exciting. Like, I remember when Beckham's lad, Brooklyn, when he was about to sign for Arsenal, was it, or whatever, and everyone was saying, oh, imagine, like, Beckham number 7 on his shirt and whatever else. And obviously, it didn't happen. But Hurst number 9 up front for Wednesday again would be brilliant.
How much better would it have been if David Hurst had called his son David, so he was like David Jr., and then we could have sung There's Only Two David Hursts when he gets really good. Missed opportunity
Hursty,
there.
You've missed a shot there, mate. Come on.
I must admit, even though it was just the words on Twitter, I popped out the old "he hits a ball and scores a goal," Georgie Hurst, and it just felt so good bringing that beast back again. It was wonderful. Right then, ladies and gents. So we're going to crack on now, and we're actually, although he's not here at the moment, going to pass over to Eddie because he's got a rather special guest with him. Bit of a surprise for you all. We've only gone and got Nigel Jemson on the line with us. Jemmo, how the devil are you, old boy?
Good, thanks. Not bad at all.
It's a real pleasure speaking to you. Thanks ever so much for coming on. Of course, Wednesday's this weekend we've got Shrewsbury in the Cup. Of course, you play for both teams. So, first of all, have a bit of a chat about your time at the Wednesday. Obviously, started off at Forest. You scored that cracking goal to win the Cup for Forest as well. And then headed over to us. So, your time at the Wednesday, what were your most memorable game for us?
Well, I had, 3.5 years possibly there? And,
absolutely.
And I think they only remember me for one game, and obviously that was the Man United game at home where I came off the bench and managed to get 2 goals to win 3-2. But it's a great football club. I don't think it worked out as well as it did do, although I did enjoy myself. It was massive club, but I have to say it's probably the best dressing room that I certainly had in my footballing career.
Of course, there's not many people that can say they've stuck 2 past Michael in one game, is there?
Well, that's what I paid to do.
So you mentioned the dressing room there. So obviously, did you have a sort of a click in the dressing room, or did the whole team get along at that time?
Everyone got on well. It was unbelievable. I mean, normally train at 10:30. People were coming in at 9:30 in the morning just to have that banter in the dressing room. Obviously, you have your usual suspects like myself and Carlton, David Hurst, all those sort of people. And again, it was banter. And I think when we went to Wembley in the cup final against Arsenal, or both cup finals against Arsenal, I think they just took me for amusement use rather than the football side of it.
So when you end up on away days, did you have sort of a player that you bunked with all the time?
No, it was a different one. I mean, I shared with Chris Waddle a lot. Obviously, I was good friends with Paul Walrus at the time when he was at Sheffield Wednesday for a bit. But everyone got on with each other, so I don't think there was. I mean, obviously, certain people had their own rumours which they got used to, but it was quite easy to be fair. I mean, I was always playing cards with Shez and Chris Waddle and all that anyway, so...
Does Chris Waddle snore? Please tell me he snores. There's got to be something wrong with him.
I can't indulge those secrets over the telephone.
Are you still in touch with any of them, Nigel?
Yeah, quite a few. Obviously, I've got a lad at who's a scholar now, just like David son at Sheffield Wednesday. So obviously they play against each other. It's quite funny, really, that Hursty's son and my son playing against each other. Yeah, speak to John Sheridan, bumping to Carlton when he's back from Shanghai, wherever he is nowadays. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's obviously everyone's got their own work or business that they're doing nowadays. But yeah, we always have a good teamwork whenever we bump into each other.
So at the time you signed for Wednesday, Nigel, Forest were. It was that kind of the dawn of the Premier League, and Forest were absolutely in that conversation when you talked about the biggest clubs in the land. What was it that sold you on moving to Hillsborough from a club that clearly you'd had a fantastic start to a career, you'd scored some big goals in some big games. What was it that sold you on the idea of coming and continuing your career at Hillsborough? Well,
I mean, obviously, obviously not playing against Sheffield Wednesday. I remember scoring, I think it was. We actually went down that year.
Thanks for that.
But yeah, I thought I mentioned
don't remember that.
Still crying.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows what affinity I have with Nottingham Forest, and so I worked in the academy and stuff. But I think obviously the point for me was being left out of the '91 FA Cup final against Tottenham, and then obviously in the summer they bought Teddy Sheringham, and so between myself, Teddy, and Nigel, it was the two places, and like many strikers, you want to play as many games as you can. And I thought I'd be going on now, but funnily enough, I started the season, and we played away at Man City, and obviously Trevor must have been at the game that day. So the next day, and he said that he came to come watch me, and he wanted to sign me. Obviously, I was flattered by it, sort of thing, and next thing I knew, they'd agreed a fee, and obviously I was off to Sheffield Wednesday. What dragged me over there? I knew that what a fantastic fan base you had, massive club. I have to say that I'm delighted how well they're doing, and they deserve to, get into the Premiership again. It would be great to see. But playing alongside David Hurst, I think, was probably the main point for me, and I think Trevor as a manager.
So you played alongside Hursty, and you also played alongside Alan Shearer, didn't you, for the England under-21s? At that time, did you see that they were, the future of England strikers? And at the time, in terms of who you played with, who was the better player of the two? Something I've always wondered.
Well, I mean, obviously, I only played with Alan Shearer once, obviously, for the 21s. Obviously, we all know what he's going to do, sort of thing. I think a fit David Hurst. I mean, he was immense. He had everything. He had the pace, he had the power, the left foot. Invariably, we didn't play together because he was injured or I was injured, so it was a bit of a mismatch, actually. But I have to say, and it's a very hard question because obviously, David was a one-man club really until he went to Southampton. But I think if David had been fit, I think he'd have been better than Alan Shearer. People might think I'm crazy for saying that after what Shearer did, sort of thing, but that's how highly I rated David Hurst. He was, he's a great lad anyway, but a great player. I can remember actually, he was just coming back from injury, and I think I'd been dropped into the reserves as usual, and we had to delay the kick-off for about an hour because about 10,000 came to watch him. So that's how popular he was, and rightly so.
I was at that game, yeah, absolutely, and it showed how highly we held him in regard. But it was an exciting time to be a Sheffield Wednesday club that was kind of on the up and up, and playing that kind of attacking football. Was that something that you enjoyed as a striker, to have that kind of wealth of creative opportunity in midfield that were there to feed you and let you do what you did best?
Well, obviously, you got fantastic ball players like Carlton Palmer playing with you. No, I'm only joking. Obviously, you've got John Sheridan there, sort of thing. That he kept saying his feet were like a wand. But you've got obviously Chris Wall on one side. That he did have a wand, by the way. He was probably one of the best players I've ever played with. I was lucky enough to play with him. But we just had some great players there, and everyone gelled together. I remember. I don't know what year it was. I think it was my second last year. I think we were something like third from bottom and we were really up against it. And, we went down. I think Trevor organised not a friendly game at Enfield during the week, and everyone was going mad saying, what are you organising that for? We've got injuries and can't afford any more. And went down there, and Andy Sinton got a bang on the head. I think he was concussed, and we were away at Ipswich that day. So we went out on that Wednesday night, and obviously that's as much as I'm going to say about that. And then
I don't think Andy Sinton ever got over that bang on the head from having watched him play after his debut.
Obviously on the Thursday we could do it once, and a few of us just up to the pub all day, and obviously then we trained back at Enfield Friday morning and travelled to Ipswich, and obviously I think a couple of us didn't abide by the rules, but what we didn't know, I mean that day I think I got 2. Carlton scored maybe, I think it was, but we won 4-1, I think it was.
Yeah, I remember it.
And I didn't realise. I mean, as Trevor dragged off with about 10 minutes to go, his usual thing was, don't let that happen again. But I think if we'd have lost that game, we might have possibly got the sack. And we went on there to get to about 6th in the league, I think, last year. And so things were going really well. But, Trevor, being the manager he was, decided to rest me, which was quite strange at the time being. So, but hey, that's all in the past.
Well, I appreciate this is a Sheffield Wednesday podcast, Gemmo, but I do need to bring up that you once played for the man, the legend, Brian Clough. And he famously referred to you as one of the few, or the only player in football that's got a bigger head than him. I mean, his nickname was Old Big Head. And he said about you that you've got a bigger head than him. I mean, what did you used to do? Just walk around swinging your dunk around the changing room? What did you do?
He was right. I was just
well, all right.
I was just. I mean, as a striker, you need that little bit of arrogance, and I was confident, and obviously I had success quite early on, and I believed in my ability. Like I say, but that was just obviously the way. He was a great manager, and again, one that I was privileged to play under.
Were you there for any of the Brian Clough gems? I mean, obviously since his passing, a lot of his one-liners came out, and they get regurgitated a lot. Normally with a picture of Marilyn Monroe for some reason on on the internet and stuff like that. But I mean, were you there for any gems, any big hitting one-liners that you thought, I don't know what he's talking about, and that was bloody funny?
Well, you just tried to ignore it. You tried to avoid it most of the time anyway, otherwise you'd have been in trouble. But you talk about the one-liners or the one-punch thing sort of thing. Well, he did actually punch me one game in the summer.
What did he say to you?
Well, I think it was away at Derby in a reserve game, and I put a cross out of play, and it got behind the goal, and he used to hate that. I think we had a 3 versus 1 against Derby, and obviously the Forest Derby, we don't get on. And he came in after the game, and then we were all sitting down, and you have to be relaxed. And he had this cricket ball. He used to throw it at you, and you have to catch it and throw it back at him. So he threw this cricket ball at me, and I caught it, and I chucked it back a little bit harder than I normally should have done. And he just said, "Stand up." So I stood up, and he said, "Son, have you ever been hit before?" And I went, "No." And he whacked me right in the stomach. That's what we have now.
I'm taking that to be Sunday League now. That's what I'm doing.
Well, I was going to say, it's a good job he never asked me if I had a bar of soap up my arse on this.
Oh, yeah. To be fair, you got off lightly there, Gemmo. I mean, in terms of local derbies, Forest and Derby, and obviously the Blades against us, which is the tastier affair? And you can be honest, don't get me wrong.
Just something that they're both amazing derbies to play in. Obviously, the Forest Derby one, again, it's like Sheffield Wednesday. Obviously, Sheffield United, there's a lot of hatred there, and I used to love the bigger the game, the better I felt, sort of thing. So I love those derbies. But it's so different. I mean, obviously, you go out with a drink, but suddenly, as soon as you're on the pitch, it's just public enemy number one. So, the Sheffield Derby is a great derby. I mean, I know. You look at the derbies I played in Preston, Blackpool. I know it's obviously at that time small, but again, there's a lot of hatred there. So, I was very fortunate to play some great games, and obviously the Sheffield Derby is one of them.
Nigel, since football, obviously you've become involved in the youth setup at Forest. Is that right?
Well, I coach in the academy. At the moment, I'm doing 15, 16s on a part-time basis.
In a lot of ways, kind of Forest and Wednesday's fortunes have sort of mirrored each other. We've both kind of been through quite bad times in the third tier and kind of stabilised in the Championship now. What do you make of both clubs' chances, I guess, of making a return to the Premier League in the next year or two?
Obviously, it's been well documented. The troubles, obviously, with the financial fair play that Forest have had. They've done Dougie's done very well with obviously what resources he's had. Hopefully that will get sorted out in the summer. Obviously, with now Sheffield Wednesday, you've got new owners in and splashed the cash a little bit and obviously doing very well. So, you think at this moment in time that Sheffield Wednesday would probably be the first club to go in that direction than what Nottingham Forest would. But it'd be fantastic to see both clubs in there because, like I said, they're both amazing clubs with fanatical supporters, and it'd be great to see them back in where they belong, to be honest.
And obviously, we're chatting tonight because this weekend is Shrewsbury against Wednesday, both former clubs of yours. I've got to be honest, I'm going on Saturday to the game at Shrewsbury, and I've never been before. I've never been to that stadium before. So, what can I kind of expect as a supporter? Is it a relatively new stadium?
Yeah, they moved obviously before I went there. It was meant to be up and then it didn't. And we played in Gay Meadow where half the season was underwater and half was on grass, I think. So, no, I mean it was a great little club. Again, I had 3 good years there towards the end of my career. Well, I finished my career playing there under Kevin Ratcliffe there, and a good manager again. Obviously people remember the cup run we had where we knocked Everton out of the FA Cup. Obviously then got battered by Chelsea.
I think you played against Nicholas Alexanderson that day as well, didn't you, Gemmo? In fact, did he score?
Yeah, I did, yeah. No, he should. Well, actually, yeah, he did score, I think, or he should have scored, 1 or 2, I can't remember. No, I think he did score. It was 2-1 and he did score, yeah. Yeah.
And you grabbed both
Rooney was
that
there.
day, didn't you, as well? I remember.
Yeah, I got both, yeah.
For the life of me, Gemma, I can't remember the winning goal. I remember it was like last minute. I can't remember that goal at all. I remember the free kick that you scored. It was absolutely what a perler. I don't think you'll hit a ball better than that.
Well, to be honest, I was. I shouldn't have really been on free kicks anyway. But obviously, being captain, I just said, "No, I'm having it." And to be fair, yeah, it was a great free kick. And I actually hit a better one the round after against Chelsea, and Cudicini was in goal at the time. And obviously, it was similar to the one I scored against Everton. He must have obviously watched the video, seen it, done it, and he tipped it over. And for the life of me, I couldn't believe he'd done it, sort of thing, to be honest. But the free kick, and then I think it was about 5 minutes from the end. Ian Wone put a free kick in from towards the touchline and just made a run across the near post and managed to get a header into the bottom corner.
Can I just ask, how old were you when you I want to say finally retired, but when you knocked it on the head? Because I remember you just think of one of them players that was around forever.
Well, I made my debut at 16, but excuse me, I finished playing the Football League about 34. But I fancied it a year at Northern Ireland, so I trained at Forest during the week and flew over for games. So that was a nice cushy way to end my career. But to be honest, we got relegated at Shrewsbury, and I didn't fancy driving 2.5 hours there, 2.5 back to play in the conference. So and no one really came in for me. So that was when I hung my boots up. But then went into semi-pro football with Ilkeston and Halifax. So I carried on playing really till I was about 40. Not my weight. Wow. Not my weight size, my age.
You seem to have a knack, Gemma, of wherever you went, you somehow managed to be in some of the most memorable moments of whatever club you went to. From scoring the winning goal in the League Cup final to the Shrewsbury team knocking out Everton. You scored a couple for Rotherham as well, didn't you? In the auto windscreens, was it at the final at Wembley there as well?
Yeah, against Shrewsbury, I went on to play for.
Actually, yeah, it was against Shrewsbury.
I don't think he went down well. The first game I played for Shrewsbury went down the coach, so I put the video on of that game. Where I scored 2 goals against them.
This is what you get.
The goalkeeper was cringing on the back seat.
Right, well, Demo, thank you so much for popping on and joining us. Absolute pleasure to speak to you.
No problem, anytime. And obviously, I wish everyone at Sheffield Wednesday all the best.
Cheers, buddy. Jemo.
Thanks, Nigel. Thanks for your time.
Who left all the pies? I think it was, wasn't it? Nigel Jemson, he spoke to Tony Benson, I think it was.
Right then, ladies and gentlemen, so there he goes, Mr. Jemson. An absolute pleasure to speak with him again. The Wednesday Week is proud to be associated with Cavendish Cancer Care. Cavendish is a Sheffield charity dedicated to improving the quality of life for people living with cancer. No one should face cancer alone, so Cavendish provides emotional support through counselling and complementary therapies. The services they provide are free of charge and are funded through donations. If you can help or would like to find out more information, you can go to www.cavcare.org.uk. That's CAVCARE.org.uk. So let's crack on then. Of course, we've got Burnley on Tuesday as well. And it has to be said, they're going rather good guns at the moment, aren't they?
They're banging. They absolutely schooled Derby the other night. And I'll not lie to you, I'm a bit concerned about them. We know that Wallace will be up for the game and whatnot, but they're a decent outfit. I mean, they've got Paul Robinson in on emergency loan. And like I said, the game against Derby, I know Derby aren't as great as what they were 3 or 4 weeks ago, and they're on a from what I can glean from the Derby supporters, that their fall off after Christmas is quite a thing. But it's clear that Richard Keogh had a bet on that game and just gave away penalties and own goals, and you know what I mean. Wanted to get spread betting off a Sky bet, but I'm worried about Burnley. I think that given what Sean Dyche has managed to sort out there.
It's a huge game. It really is a massive game. They were really falling off the boil a few weeks ago, and they looked to be kind of slowly dropping their way down the top 6, like they might kind of their season might start to fade a little bit, but then they've really pulled it back. So they're banging form at the moment. Obviously, we had a slight wobble coming away from Reading with just a point, although it wasn't a bad point. I think it's fair to say that we're banging form at the moment as well. We're certainly doing pretty well in terms of our form. So this is going to be a massive game. I think if we can beat Burnley at home, it is a huge result. I don't think a point's disastrous. I think if we lose the game, then it might just kind of reset ourselves a little bit in terms of what our aims are for this season. But let's not worry too much about that, because we know we can beat anyone on our day. We say it every week on this podcast. This team's good enough to beat anyone. So we've got a chance. We've got a good shout. And Joey Barton always has a bit of a stinker against us, doesn't he? Recently.
Yeah.
If only we got Lewis Buxton playing, so he can run circles around him and bang it in the back of the net.
So
like
Joey could fit comfortably in his little pocket.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be an absolute banger. It'd be interesting to see what the crowd is. How many turn up for this one? Because it's. I think there's been a rallying call from a few fans to say, if ever you needed to come and roll the team on in this season, it could be this match. So it's going to be interesting to see how many actually rock up for it.
I think that's a banging point. I think you're right. I think if these teams above us, Derby, Brighton, Burnley, Middlesbrough, Hull, I think these are the ones. And Ipswich as well, let's not forget them, who don't seem to want to roll over and die, even though they got the backside handed to them by Birmingham the other day. I think you're right. I think we need to get behind the boys. I might not be there myself because, it's 350 mile away.
I've got full confidence that it's going to be an absolute thunder chuffer. Right, so just before we wrap up, we sort of glossed over earlier, ourselves here at the Wednesday Week and the Facebook group, the Cop End, sort of joining together to a little bit of a Bannon week, just to get along with this thing that we're all Wednesday and we're trying to sort of spread the love around Facebook and other groups as well to get this out there. So what's going to happen is, first of all, if you're a Facebook type person, obviously we're mainly Twitter over here, but if you're a Facebook type person, pop over there to the Cop End. We've got a little bit of a competition off over there at the moment, so post your Bannon songs, and the best Bannon song that is posted we'll record at the Wednesday Week, and we'll get it up and running, just like we did with the Artie song and obviously the Turning Portuguese song and all that kind of thing. So it's a bit of fun over there. The chap over there at the Cop End, Cleggy, who I'm sure the Cop End all know incredibly well, He's getting in touch with various different people at the moment, and it's just keeping it slightly under his hat right now, just to make sure that sort of the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. Basically, it's just a bit of fun, and to celebrate Bannon, who's, let's face it, been one of the best players we've had for a long, long time in that particular position.
So if somebody writes in with a suggestion for a song, you're going to cover it, yeah?
Any suggestion? Or?
No, we're going to do the best one.
You're going to cover the best one. All right, so who gets to vote? Do you vote? Who gets to cast in vote?
Well, between ourselves and, of course, the cop end, we'll decide on which one's the best, and then I'll record it.
All right, brilliant. I want to put this one forward because I want to hear Lord H sing it. It's going to be. It goes big, dirty, stinking Baz. Dirty, stinking Baz. I don't want no goals. No, I just play for Wednesday. I don't. Somebody's. You could score my goals. So like that, fam. Yeah.
Just before you do pop over there to the cop end and submit that, Fudge, can you remember the Picnic song we did?
The Picnic one. What was the Picnic one?
It was to Mr. Boombastic.
Yes. I don't. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
I never heard this. That's brilliant. I hated Picnic.
Unless you want a repeat of that, just submit your song by all means.
I want a repeat of that. That's exactly what I want now.
Vic, what it was, that was a contrived move because it turned out that every cover we ever did, every parody we ever did, the player would then leave. Because we've done, I Love Ryan Lowe, and we did As Lines Go By, and then we thought, let's do one for Picnic, and he might foxtrot Oscar, and it worked a charm.
But yes, absolutely, pop over there to the cop end on Facebook, submit your entry. Doesn't have to be the whole thing, just give us the seed, and we'll do the rest.
I'm starting a Twitter campaign, hashtag Big Dirty Stinking Baz. Let's go for it.
Right, I'm a bit little bit worried. If I'm
Can we do like all about that Baz?
Pop over to the cop end, Victoria. Submit your entry.
I do, but then I get notifications. I don't use Facebook that much, and it's all a bit much for me, Lord. I'm not going to lie.
I'm on it now, me. I'm on it.
It's spelled Big Dirty.
All about that Baz. About that Baz.
Do you know what I'm thinking of is an original song that someone more talented than myself could write called The Nanan of Bannon.
Is this similar to Gary Hooper's Dad all over again? Is this just a family tree song? Is this?
Oh, I hate you guys. Right then, ladies and gents. So that is going to just about wrap us up for this evening. James, if people want to go to you over there on the Twitter, where can we do that, Robby?
You can get me at James Marriott, and I'll be at who are we playing on Saturday? Shrewsbury, that's it. I'll be at Shrewsbury on Saturday. I'm sat on row C, so I've probably got a rubbish view, so I won't be able to tell you anything about it next week.
I don't think that's got anything to do with the fact of our close you're sitting, James, to be fair.
That's pretty standard.
No, but come on, it's a good excuse, isn't it? It's a good. I can use that one this time. Don't ruin it for me.
All right, just tell them you forgot your reading glasses. Forgot my readers.
Fudge, where can people get all your nonsense online?
Get me on the Twitter rings at Dan Fudge. Caution, I swear a lot.
Yeah, pretty much standard. Victoria, my darling, where can people find you over there online?
I'm at Victoria1867, and I don't swear that much on Twitter.
Lies is the language of the devil.
With me. No, I don't, because I'm
Lies made baby Jesus cry.
At Victoria1867, anyway.
I am absolutely positive that there's nobody listening to this that's not following Neil already. But if people want to go to you or Beans, where can they do that?
I don't really like people talking to me on the internet. But if they want to, you can find me on owlstalk.co.uk.
And of course, if you want to listen to the Owls Talk podcast, how can we do that?
Just iTunes. Just search Owls Talk on iTunes or YouTube or whatever, and it's on there.
Fantastic. Of course, click that subscribe button as well so you get it fresh every week. Of course, you can get all over me over there on Twitter at Lord H. That's L0RD_H. Of course, you can get all the podcast at TWWcast over there on Twitter. Of course, we're over there on Facebook. Again, I'm going to mention it. Rich is doing a marvellous job over there on Facebook as well. So our Facebook presence is very highly elevated at the moment. Pop over there to the cop end while you're there too. And of course, submit your Bannon week entry as well. And of course,
all about the no Bannon.
And of course, you can get hold of us over there on the YouTubes as well. Ladies and gents, it's been a pleasure as always. Be good, be safe, and we shall see you real soon.
I see it is like you're the fillet steak of podcasts. You're very professional, very organised.
He's going to be what we expected from when we signed Russell Wilcox.
Russell Wilcox.
I've got the name wrong there completely, Anna. Fucking hell. But does anybody get my fucking
was
point?
manager when I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very aware of Russell bloody Wilcox is, thank you.
Well, you shouldn't have said it then, should you? Fucking hell.
You're very professional, very organised.
I think this is going to be one of the... No, it's gone. It's gone. Nigel, for fuck's sake, just say something. I'm done here. I'm on mute.
Nigel.
Is he?
I can't breathe.
Is he who wrote Mr. Man?
You're very professional, very organised.
Right. So, and of course, we've got his own little.
Can I not do my little bit then? No.
If you bear me a second.
Oh. Stop laughing at me.
It's like trying to herd cats with you lot tonight. What are you doing?
You're very professional, very organised.
Get all the podcast at TWW Podcast as well. Of course, find us on Facebook.
No. TWW Cast.
Oh.
You're very professional, very organised.
Yeah. Cheeseboard classes as pudding, though, doesn't it?
Is it?
That's
Right.
yeah.
Do you know that trick when you don't want to talk to someone, you do that thing with the crisp bag next to the microphone?
Oh, fine, I'll go on mute.
Take the chuffing hint.
You're very professional, very organised.
What the fuck is Bannon with?
I'll go through it, don't worry.
Okay. You've got to cut that out because I said your name, so you can't even accuse me of swearing then, so F you.
Shut up, yeah. I'll cut that
Oh, don't stop, y'all. I'm snorting and everything. Stop it.
Sorry, hang on. I've got it. I'm all right. Composed.
You're very professional, very organised. You're very professional, very organised. You're very professional, very organised. You're very professional, very organised.